I don't like unround numbers, so I'll be scaling them in intervals of 0.5. Omar's fight is first since he is the marker for the Ashura series with a 1. While Inaba is a joke to many people, he would have beaten Omar if Omar didn't use their fawns. So Inaba with his hair will be a 1.5. Omar in advance completely destroyed Inaba, but Inaba did manage to stay conscious for a few seconds, so advanced Omar will be a 2. Adam Dudley will be a 1, since Omar was completely sure that he could beat him, and because he lost to Cosmo. That's not to put Adam down though, as Cosmo couldn't do much damage, it's just that Adam can't really react or defend against complex techniques. Cosmo with his own would be a 1.5 because it was so good that it could cover for his physical weakness. Okoya would be a 2.5 since he could take Hiro's attack and deal enough damage to make Hiro crumble. While Okoya is a 2.5, he can take down stronger opponents because of his adaptation. Hiro would be a 2 because of how he could hurt Okoya before Okoya got trained to him. Hiro purging his sin would be a 3 because of his added speed, power, and stamina, and since he only lost to Okoya because of the damage that he took before. If he was purging when he entered the fight, he probably would have won. Base Ryan would be a 3 because of his durability and power. Mokuichi would be a 2.5 for doing extremely well against Ryan, though it didn't really hurt Ryan and he was just technique flexing on Ryan, which anybody can sort of do. While normally removed, Ryan would be higher, but since he really couldn't go all out because of Mokuichi being quite weak, he'd only be a 4. Murabuchi would be a 2 for surviving Rocker's punch, and for temporarily being the fastest with his split attack. While Hasuki would be a 4 for having almost no damage dealt against him against Murabuchi when he was fighting against Murabuchi, and because of him having the highest average attack power. Julius would be a 4 because he's Watatsuki's rival, and because he could tank Sawada's kick with no injuries. Sawada would be a 0.5 because he is Rihita's rival, and Rihita could lose to Omar very easily, and his kick didn't really even damage Mogara that much, and Mogara isn't that strong. Mogara's pain to pleasure and judo skills would put him at a 2, and Matuba would be a 2.5 for being ruthless and for winning. Seki would be a 2.5 because of him tanking no damage in his previous fight with Omar, because he survived Koizan's Raging Vigor, and because he's great at destroying people while blocking. Koizan would be a 2, normally, and with his Raging Vigor, which was temporarily also now the fastest attack, surpassing Murabuchi, he'd be a 2.5. Sao Pang would be a 2, and so would Karo, since they're almost equal to each other in the fight. Both of them have top class durability and attacks, so putting them there does make sense. Nezu would be a 1.5 based off nothing but his kick, which Ray and Timura said was great. Ray would be a 3 because he blitzed Nezu and surpassed every other character in speed for the entirety of round 1. Rihito would be a 0.5 because his rivals with Sawada and base Omar could easily beat him. Genza would be a 1 because he handled Rihito as easily as Omar did and didn't show anything more. Nakata would be a 1.5 for being known as being powerful, and for actually being able to hurt Kiryu, although then again afterwards, Kiryu being a 2.5 completely decimated him, and when Kiryu slightly went into Fallen Demon, I'd say it'd be a 3, since he completely toyed with Nakado. Nakado stood no chance. Hatsumi would already be a 1.5, from already defeating a hurt advanced Omar, and easily defeating Chiba. Chiba would be a 0.5, from losing very easily. Normally Hajime would be a 1, but since he feels no pain and he has swords, I put him at 1.5. Bando is a 2, because even though he did quite badly against Hajime, he could still tank most other fighters and he is still extremely powerful. Hajime with the poison would be a 4, because nobody could survive it without assistance, but many people could just dodge Hajime, so... Galong would be a 3 for beating Kaneda, who trained to fight him, and for beating Sao Pang, who is a 2. Kaneda would be a 1.5, for coming up with accurate predictions of people's attacks in a few seconds, and for beating Himuro, who are put at a 1 because he never really showed much. Okorobu, for being able to match the Fang, having a mastery of his fighting style, having an unpredictable attack pattern, and being extremely tough would be a 3.5. Fang, for defeating Okorobu with one main punch to the head, and not giving it all would be a 4. With Omar starting at a 1, you can see how weak he really was. For example, between his round 1 fight and the start, not even during the start of his round 3 fight, he had 3 power-ups. 2 for Ryan, and 1 for Cosmo. You can see that the author made him considerably weak. Like I said, he had trouble with Inaba, somebody who nobody else takes seriously. If you go later into the series, you'll see nobody even cares about Inaba's strength. Everybody in round 2 could just destroy Inaba. Nobody is weak. And here's the thing, maybe people say, okay, yeah, but Omar and all, and they're the 1% of the Kengan matches, the 1% of all fighters in the world. Okay, yeah, they're much better than that. But here's the thing, there's 32 of them. They can't be the 1% of the Kengan matches. And with Omar especially, I'd say, okay, there's probably 12 people in the tournament who he can't beat. So even then, he wouldn't be the 1% of the 204 people in the Kengan tournament. And even if he was, there's many people like Nishi Honji, Seven Fists, or Toga's affiliated employed fighter who could probably beat Omar. So even compared to the people who aren't in the tournament, even the bodyguards, for example, there are quite a few bodyguards that could beat Omar that we know of already. It's very easy to see that Omar didn't stand a chance. He wasn't even the top 20. Even if you had to go and check out every fighter in Kengan Ashura, I don't think Omar would even be in the top 30, because you think about it. Think about Hayami's bodyguards, then you think about Metsu's bodyguards, and you think about all the people who didn't really show up. You think about Longmin and them, also the Extermination Squad. I mean, also the Extermination Squad and the Black Messengers. You can't say Omar's going to be top 30 there. I don't even think he'll be top 32. So, while many people say that they're the 1%, yeah, they are, but even then, that doesn't matter when you're in a tournament with 32 of the strongest people. You have to be a bit lower than the top 1%, I would say. My favorite thing when it comes to ranking and power scaling is seeing how the characters go. That's why I also make it in 0.5 intervals to make it go up more cleanly. I'm really excited for round 2 because even before round 2, Omar first grows. He gains not indestructible, that one punching attack, which I forgot, and as he just goes up through and just keeps getting stronger and stronger. And with round 2, there's more fights I can reference, and there's better ways I can calculate their powers.